You're listening to the Into the Woods podcast with your hosts, Dermot and Michael. Let's get into it.
Wonderful chase by Hinshaw.
Cox again. I cannot believe it. Dacos nearly runs out of room. He's goal. Jamie Elliott has won the game of footy for this famous club. Slap for Nick Dacos. He's going to be the hero. The little champ is going to pick the winner.
Here's the Degoe moment. He unloads. Bang! You need your stars. And Collingwood stars just went and wrenched the cup back.
If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. For Spotify and Apple listeners, a 5-star rating would be greatly appreciated. Make sure you hit the bell icon on any of those platforms to be notified as soon as new episodes are released. You can find us on X at Into the Woods Pod and on Instagram at Into the Woods Pod 10. Thanks for your ongoing support by helping the podcast grow. Go Pies! Welcome to Into the Woods. I'm your host Dermot, and for the next hour or so, we'll be talking about all things Collingwood. Once again, I'm joined by Michael. How are you, Mick?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good. I got something I want to show you. I don't know how Twitter works.
Yeah.
I don't understand Twitter. So this person liked one of my posts. So if you look at it, so Diana Young, her name is. She's a Chinese American, young mother, looks about, late 20s?
Yep.
Yeah, late 20s, conservative, politically conservative. This is the post she liked, of mine. Ricky Barham was one of the best kicks for goals running at top pace. Underrated, I said.
She's a Ricky Barham fan. What's the issue?
I don't understand. That was in response to one of Rhett Bartlett's posts. And a political conservative Chinese American young lady liked that post.
Yeah. What?
I just don't understand.
What's your point? She's not allowed to like Ricky Barham. I don't understand.
Well, she does go on to say that she thinks Hafey overtrained them in the lead up to the 79 grand final week. So it's just, yeah, I just thought it was odd. I just had a look this morning. I thought, what's she? Anyway,
right.
Keep on going.
I got some sad news.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you're going to get a bit choked up.
I bet I don't get choked up.
It hit me this morning as I was preparing for this pod that this would be the last time that we are together for an in-season pod.
Ever?
Well, for the year.
Okay. Yes.
It's sad. We've been.
It's sad, but maybe it's as a result of my intervention I took out against you, because during the week Dermot shared with me. We'll get back to your point in a minute, but Dermot shared with me. I was just having a look at your lucky West Coast socks here. Okay.
Should I tell the story in case people didn't tune in last week?
Please don't. Okay. So Dermot, speaking to me during the week, said I wanted to punch your effing head in during. What was my crime? For him to want to punch his father's effing head in. What was my crime, you ask? My crime was I interrupted the sock story during the podcast just when it was about to be good. Just when he's getting to the good bit. There is no good bits, Dermot. The sock story makes people sad. Okay?
You exaggerate. You're making it sound like I was aggressive.
You said I wanted to punch your effing head in.
But it wasn't in an aggressive way.
Not an aggressive way. I didn't want to punch your effing head in.
You're making it sound like I threatened you.
In an aggressive way, no.
It wasn't. No, it was more in a joking way that I said.
Why was I shaking when you said it? So go ahead. This is the last time for the year.
Yeah, because I'm heading over to Melbourne on Friday morning.
Oh yes, for matches, but we will have post-season trade specials. Trade specials. It sounds like it's something to look forward to. Trade specials.
Yes, but my point was in season.
Oh yes, okay. Yes, you're right. It is emotional.
I don't come back until the Monday after the grand final, so I'll be in the big city. If anyone wants, if you see me floating around and you want to stop me for an autograph or a photo, I'm happy to chat to fans.
Happy to chat to fans. You've just reminded me of something else, Dermot. Dermot was worried the other day.
Is this the sunglasses story?
Because he broke his sunglasses, the sunglasses which feature on my Twitter profile, the sunglasses I made famous. Dermot was worried that because his sunglasses are broken, he might be recognised in and around the streets of Melbourne by the Melbourne populace.
No.
And he envisaged, or this is what I envisage, A Hard Day's Night, the Beatles movie when they're running down the street and they're chased by a group of young girls. I think Dermot envisaged something like that. So
I mean, I did say that, but it wasn't quite in that way. It was more, if I just want a bit of me time at, Collingwood training or something.
Away from the paparazzi.
And let's just say there's quite a few people that recognise me.
Oh,
I might get to the stage.
People recognise you.
I love my fans. I do. I love to chat. But, it might get to the stage, okay, I might just want to watch a bit of training, put the sun in.
Yeah, it's just when you left alone. Yeah. No, I can appreciate that. I was only just getting petrol in Huonville just now. And the mob which formed.
Well, you're more likely to be recognised at Collingwood training than the Hillville petrol station.
All right, I'm going to make a bet with you. I bet nobody recognises you, and those who do recognise you, if anybody does, they will move further away from you. That's what I predict.
No, I'm happy to chat. Come chat. Come say hello if you see me, training or at the games or around Melbourne.
Please come and say hello, please.
No, well, if you don't want it, then that's fine. 'Cause I prefer to be by myself anyway. But right. Well, I'll tell you what.
What's that?
So I'm obviously going to the prelim on Saturday.
Yes.
Oh man, I'm there till, as I said before, the Monday after the grand final. If we lose, is there going to be a more depressing time to be on a holiday in Melbourne than having to be there for grand final week around Brisbane fans who have knocked us off in a prelim and either Geelong or Hawthorn? It would be an awful few days, and I just want to get the fuck out. But
see, in the lead up to these weeks, prelim and grand final, I soothe myself with story. I tell myself stories, okay, because I want to cushion any disappointment which may eventuate after we lose. So what I'm cushioning myself psychologically with at the moment is, well, if we lose to Brisbane, they're just obviously a better side. They've got so many injuries in the moment. Like, not Lockie Neal was out. And
hold on. We're going to get into all this in hot topics.
Yeah, I know, but just quickly, and Hipwood's out, and Jack Payne's out, and their halfback flanker from a couple of years ago, he's been out for ages. Kitty Coleman. Kitty Coleman's out. They've got a lot of McCarthy's out. So I'm thinking they've got all these players out. If they beat us, then we're just not good enough. And all I ask is, if we get beaten in any of the remaining finals, please don't let it be because of the intervention of the umpires who are incorrect. Don't let it come back to a 2018 situation.
Oh,
that's all I ask. If they beat us fair and square, fine and good, I can live with that.
It should be fine. I will be wearing their socks, so.
Well, make sure people don't recognise. Make sure you have your pants pulled up over your socks, because people are going to be looking out for the famous West Coast socks.
No, but at least if we lose the prelim, you can just stay here in Tassie and hide away and not even watch anything football related. Just get away from the sport. I'm going to be bank smacking Melbourne with no way to get out. What the fuck am I going to do? It will be fucking win Collingwood. Do not make this the worst week of my life, for God's sake. All right. Anyway, let's get into all the hot topics.
We've listened to the wisdom of Sir Winston Churchill and the brilliance of genius Albert Einstein. In the 60s, we heard the great JFK. Now, all the great minds are talking footy.
Could she be a bot? What's a bot?
A robot?
Yeah, that's what it's a robot.
Let me have a look.
Because look at this. It's all political conservative.
No, she's
right-winger.
She's real. Yeah.
She's real. What's she doing? I can't understand it. She wants me to pick. What number do you see? I see 67. What do you see?
I don't know. Rightio. So, yeah, I see 67.
Yeah, 67.
Yeah. Rightio. So, the prelim finals are decided. Last time we were here, we had no idea who we were playing. I think there were still 4 options. So, in the last week or week and a bit since we've done this pod, we've now got to sit down, watch 5 games of finals footy. It's been a bit bit of fun. There's been some good games, some ordinary games. That Gold Coast Freo one was a ripper. That Hawks Giants one was good. I think the semi-finals are a bit of a letdown, but we now know Friday nights it is the Hawks and the Cats. That should be a blockbuster. But the main one, the big show, Saturday, 5:15 MCG, Collingwood, Brisbane. That's what we're here to talk about. And I want to start by talking a little bit about team selection before we then preview the actual game itself and look more into Brisbane. What are you giggling about?
Still thinking about the Ricky Barham thing. It's hilarious. Anyway, keep on going. Keep on going.
You're an actual nutcase. You are losing your fucking mind.
It's so odd. I can't get over how odd it is.
You're right.
Keep on going.
Right, so obviously we didn't play this weekend. We're fresh off another week off, so there's no game to talk about. So there's only, in my eyes, 3 major talking points. And like last week, I'm going to chuck down my team.
Oh, yes.
So our YouTube viewers
Yes,
right
you
now
can
should
do
be
that.
able to see what my preliminary final team is.
Yep.
If you're listening on Spotify, you can change it to video mode and you can see it there. Apple listeners, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see it. But we'll explain it as well as we can. And the 3 major talking points, and I want to start with the main one, and that is Jeremy Howe.
Right.
It looks like he's going to be okay. He's training well. He
Yep.
still isn't in match team yet, but I think they're just holding him back to this week. He looks fine. He looks good. Any worries?
Oh, of course, there's worries. The guy who hasn't, he's played 1 game in the last few months. So that in itself, even if we knew he was fully fit, that in itself would be a worry about his ability to run out a game. And the second worry is that, he has been injured. And what if that goes pop again? So they're the worries. But again, as we've discussed this in the last 2 pods, if he put his hand up and said he was right, if the medical people said he was right, you'd play him because he's just so important to us. I reckon we can talk about dangerous players and how we cope with them a bit later if you want, or we'll get to that
Later.
Okay, but there's somebody I think we should earmark him to.
Okay.
But yep, you play him.
Yeah, I'm all in. He looks good.
Yeah.
He looks good. And you just got to, I think it was Serge that said it in our last panel show, you just got to pick your best 23 come finals. If they're fit, you just got to pick them.
I think, I'm not sure if I said this in the pod, but I've been worried about, 2011 still haunts me with Reed and Jolly coming in. But I suppose when you're talking about a fullback and a ruckman, key pivotal positions, pivotable, is that a word? Pivotable.
Yeah.
Is it? If it isn't, it should be. And so they're key positions that if an injury were to occur, you're really stuffed. Whereas Howe's kind of a third tall, you could cover him to a degree if he went down. And of course, Bobby, who we'll talk about too, is a forward pocket. Again, if he was to go down during the game, you could cover him to an extent. If they both went down, would be screwed. But it's different to the 2011 situation.
All right. Well, we'll touch on Bobby Hill now.
Yeah,
He looks like he's going to play. We can thank Eddie Betts, I think, for this. Seems like Eddie's got in his head. The only person that's been able to get through to him.
Well, it's a bit of a worry that he has to be got through to begin with. Like I said, you get paid the freaking.
It is, but it doesn't matter as long as he's there.
Yeah, I know. But just for the long term of Eddie at the club, it worries me that he has to be motivated to want to play in a grand final or prelim or any game.
He's at every training session. He's ticking all the boxes.
Yep.
His family's back. I saw him with his kids the other day. He's got Eddie in his corner.
Yeah,
he's looking good.
He is looking good. And the question is, would we play him? Well, again, I say yes.
I've been a big fan of picking him for a while. I obviously picked him in my original qualifying final team before he was then ruled out. But then the last pod, I was a bit unsure at that point because I think that was before the scratch match. It was one day before the scratch match. There was still talk that he was going to Tassie at that point. He eventually pulled out. At that point, I was almost ready to put a line through because I was like, well, he might not even play the scratch match. He's going to Tassie. How serious is he taking this? Well, he cancelled that. He kicked 4 goals in that match. He's been at every session. I'm picking him. But I think the main question now, and as people would say in this team, who is the sub? Who is the sub? Is it Bobby Hill or is it, I reckon it's a 50-50. It's either you go Bobby because you don't think you can run out 4 quarters or you go Pat Lipinski. Because the other guys, let me list off
Pat
the next...
Lipinski? Okay.
Well, let me list off the next guys that would be in the mix. Ned Long, he's not going to be sub. Bo McCreary, you can't put Bo as sub. Perryman, no, not sub. Houston, form probably suggested he should be in the mix for sub, but you just can't do it because we know how good he is at his best. They're the next options. This is how strong we are.
So I take it. Parker and Steele are out.
Yeah.
They're the two outs.
So
okay.
my outs here, I got Howe in for Parker and Bobby in for Steele.
Right.
And they're the options. Long, Bow, Perryman, Houston. I say options, but they're not options. So really, is it a Lipinski or is it a Bobby Hill?
Well, I look. He's Bobby's probably going to have to be either sub or subbed out at one stage. You'd think maybe for a guy who hasn't played in X number of months. And by the way, Waddell number 23 for Hawthorn.
Weddle.
Weddell, sorry.
Weddell.
Weddell doesn't matter. Look, Weddell. It depends on what side of the arrow you were born on. Weddell. He hadn't played. He was out for approximately the same amount of time that Bobby had been out for.
And he was actually injured too.
Yeah, and he was actually injured. Thank you for stealing my thunder. I'm trying to make a point, but you might as well. What's the next part of my point? The next part of my point is he's since played 2 games and played them very well. So there wasn't much news about him being underdone when being brought back in.
Oh, there was.
So, not to the same extent as Bobby.
Well, Bobby's the one that's been creating headlines.
Yeah, exactly. He's been creating headlines, maybe just because it's Collingwood. But
it's also the way he's behaved.
If Waddell, I'm going to call him Waddell. No, I was born on the other side of the arrow. Waddell, if he's come in, he's contributed really well in his first 2 games back. Well, it's not beyond the realms of possibility. But having said that, I'm still assuming Bobby's going to be either sub or subbed out at some stage. So it comes down to: do you want to start him or do you want to finish with him? You want to wait for the heat to be off the game.
As people can see in my team, I've got Bobby.
Oh, you can see it. Oh, you haven't looked.
Yeah, I've got him in the 22. I've got Lipinski as sub. I mean, it's hard to say when you're not inside the club. You don't know exactly. So there's pros and cons. Like, Bobby is a star and he owns the Brisbane Football Club, as we know. He's had some, not just the grand final, but he's played some really good games against them. A part of me just wants him to be there from the start. I get the appeal of him coming on as a bit of an X factor, but you want to start well.
Yeah, when the heat's off the game, that'll help him when the heat's off the game.
Yeah, but also I'm not convinced that if you start him, I'm not convinced that he's the one you sub off. I reckon it's probably a Tall, a Cox, or one of the key forwards or something.
What if you can't run the game out? Even as a forward pocket.
And then obviously, but like.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a tough one. Right now, I've got him starting. Can you please turn your phone on silent? It is your phone. What is happening?
Oh, it's a guy from work. It's about the game last night. He barracks for Brisbane.
Right. So yeah, I'm Bobby in the 22 and I'm Lipinski sub.
You can never. Whenever he sends text, this guy, you have to kind of read it 4 times. You don't know what the hell's going on. Here he starts with. See, he doesn't proofread his text.
Michael, nobody can see.
He starts off with G instead of pies. He spells it GIES. So the whole way through his text, you're always struggling to know what the hell he's talking about.
Does he watch this?
No, he doesn't know that we've got this.
He doesn't know that you've got this.
This podcast. No, nobody at work knows that I do this.
Oh, yeah. Right. Why?
Because there's sometimes I might refer to work unprofessionally, maybe throughout the course of the podcast. But
anyway, who's your sub? Make a call right now. If you were to coach, is it Bobby or is it Lipper?
It is Bobby. Bobby sub.
Right. Okay. Fair. Now, the one that I want to talk to you about the most is Myercheck. So Myercheck obviously looked uncomfortable against Adelaide with a foot complaint. He was then at training yesterday, didn't complete it, looked, again, uncomfortable, limping around. Dan McStay was training well. With the fact that Howe and Bobby are probably going to play, do you want to risk someone like a Myercheck who clearly isn't right? And if I'm going to be honest, looks more underdone than Howe and Bobby at this stage. We're recording this on a Sunday morning. We've still got, a bit less than a week to go until the game. A lot can change in that time. But do you want to go in with three of them? So Howe is harder to replace than Myercheck. So is Bobby. You've got a ready-made fit replacement in McStay. Myercheck isn't playing that well anyway. Do you just pull the trigger and get the guy that's 100% fit in McStay?
Oh, look at what you said before. We're not inside the club. I find it odd that he played out the game the other week. He hasn't done this injury during training since then. So it's an injury he did in the game, and he continued to play the game out. So I can't have been too
You,
serious.
you get it jabbed up, adrenaline.
Yeah,
It's a final. You got to keep on going.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but for a full 2 weeks, you'd think he'd be right. But if he's not right, I think I said to you on the phone, of all our players, even though I rate Myercheck really highly, we're probably he's is the position we could probably cover the best of any position. To begin with, as you say, he's not playing that crash hot anyway. And B, we've got a fully fit Dan McStay on the sidelines who can play almost the identical role. So if we wanted, if one player had to be injured, I think Myercheck or Membry, if you had to pick him, it would be somebody like that. Somebody you could cover. You could, you wouldn't want a key back going down or one of our midfielders, or even one of the ruckman.
Can I tell you what I think about Myercheck and McStay? I've got a lot about this in the last 24 hours in particular.
I don't want you to share this with us.
Well, I'm going to be
Can you
sharing.
just respect that you did ask me? Can we move on?
So, as people can see, my team, I've got Myercheck out or McStay. Now, this is regardless of if Myercheck is declared fit or not. I'm picking McStay over him. And Myercheck's the better player. But I'm still worried that even if he is declared fit, he's not going to be 100% fit. And I see a role for McStay that excites me. So obviously he's severely out of form, McStay, and that's why he's out of the team. He would be the most desperate player on our list to win a premiership. After what happened in 23 and then watching his former teammates win it in 24, he would want this more than anyone. It's now been taken away from him in the last couple of weeks to the point where it's going to happen again. Like, I could be sitting on the sidelines as an emergency watching my teammates win a premiership. He's now going to be given a chance, most likely. He is going to be as hungry as ever. I reckon he's going to come in with a nothing to lose attitude, thinking, well, I'm just going to attack this ball. I'm just going to go as hard as I can. I'm not going to leave anything out on the field because the chances are, if we win anyway, I'm probably going to be out for Myercheck if I don't play well.
Yep.
So, and if he does play well, if he does do that, then all of a sudden there's going to be a question going into the grand final. Do you go Mixday? Do you go Myercheck?
Or Membry.
Or if Membry plays a quiet game.
Because Membry hasn't been great the last month.
No. But anyway, the role that I see McStay playing, and I wanted to talk about this maybe a little bit later, but I'll bring it up now, is I am extremely worried about Harris Andrews. What are we going to do with Harris Andrews? And obviously in the 23 grand final, we had big Bill Frampton do the job on him.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that this time. Billy's too important to our defence. Does McStay come in and does he play a role on Harris Andrews? Now they would know each other's games quite well, former teammates. I reckon he's the kind of guy. He was previously a defender. He's good defensively.
Yeah.
And he's capable, unlike Frampton, he's capable of hitting the scoreboard as well and making Andrews pay. I think that's a perfect, instead of putting the pressure on him being, he's our second ruck and all this and moving up the ground. We now don't have to worry about that. We've got Cox and Cameron. It's very similar to, I guess, the way that we played in 23. He was just a forward in 23 because we had the two rucks and he played that really good prelim. I reckon you simplify his role, you're a forward, and keep an eye on Harris Andrews. I reckon I could see that working. I reckon he could play a better role in someone like an Andrews than a Brody Myercheck could. What do you reckon?
Well, I had 3 or 4 people written down, Brisbane players and how we deal with them. Harris Andrews being one of them. McCluggage being another, and their half-backers, Zorko and
We'll get to that later. Let's just talk about Andrews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm very constricted about what I can talk about, when I can talk about it. There are a lot of rules on this podcast. Harris Andrews, I was thinking Cox, really make him accountable. But I wasn't thinking in terms of McStay being in. Okay, my mindset wasn't McStay was in the side. My mindset was Myercheck was in the side, and I don't think Myercheck could really stop him intercept marking to a great degree.
No.
So I was thinking Cox, really just tell Cox, your job is to do the Billy Frampton role of last year, but instead, exactly. Sorry, I was going to say instead as a forward, not a back, but as a forward. So I reckon you just say to Cox, you just make sure Harris Andrews doesn't take a mark. If you take a mark, bonus. But we don't want him taking a mark. That's what I'd do.
So you wouldn't go with McStay. I think McStay would be able to play that role better. If Cox can go down there and cause a bit of havoc because of his height, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to I guess play a tagging role. That's probably the best way of putting it on someone like an Andrews. I'm not sure if we want him to do that. Like, I reckon that's basically what Billy Frampton did to him in that grand final.
Yeah, I think that Harris Andrews would have been prepared to run off and take his chances on a Billy Frampton. I don't think he's going to want to stray too far from Cox because the potential impact Cox can make in the air.
Yeah, but Cox is also going to spend a lot of time on the bench. He's going to spend a lot of time in the ruck. Whereas McStay, this can just be his role for the game.
Yeah,
you know at all times, as long as Andrews is on the ground, McStay is by his side.
but I've seen McStay in recent times not be able to stop intercept markers. There's been a few games in the last month before he was dropped. They went to town on us.
It could be his mindset. His mindset is attack first. If his mindset is okay, I'm going to stop Andrews and anything else is a bonus, then it could be a little bit different. I think he's more capable than Myercheck. Myercheck, I love Myercheck. He's my favourite, out of the Triple M's. But he's just not fit. He's just not playing well. And if we happen to win the happen to win the prelim final and we go through to a granny, then I'm happy to have another conversation about does he come back in? And if so, this is Myercheck. And if so, who for?
Well, I'm just strolling through Diana Young's post to see if she's got any thoughts on the subject. Can't find anything at the moment.
It's an interesting talking point.
Well, it's vital that we stop Harris Andrews. He's probably almost your number one person you want to stop at Brisbane.
100%.
Especially with Lockie Neal out.
100%.
Yeah. So
and hopefully we've got the panel show coming up, which will be out on Wednesday morning. So we record that on a Tuesday night, and hopefully we know a little bit more information about Myercheck by that stage, and we can chat further about it. But at this early stage on Sunday morning, I'm liking the potential of McStay coming in regardless, because having Howe, Bobby, and Myercheck there makes me a little bit nervous. So you eliminate one of them, I reckon it's Myercheck. You want fit players going to a prelim.
Yeah.
Rightio. So I want to talk a little bit about the game, and I went back to the last time we played Brisbane, which was in round 21.
Yep.
We lost by 27 points. But I wrote down the changes from that game to now. So in that game, we managed Bobby Hill by starting him as a sub, and then we managed Jordan Ngoe by subbing him off. Hopefully, Geordie's now playing the 4 quarters, if he's healthy. And Bobby, I reckon, will be in the 22. So that right there, straight away, tick, massive improvement. Hoskin Elliott was in over the injured Bo McCreary. So right there's a bit of an upgrade, you reckon, Mick?
A little bit of an upgrade. And the news just gets better. Not only has Hoskin Elliott retired, you know who else has retired?
Not sure.
The Richies.
This
would be the Richies last summer. About as funny as a fart in an elevator.
Why do you keep on talking about the Richies?
Thank God they're over. It's just they're so cringy. And they've called this is their last year.
I don't care.
I do. I've celebrated. Twice within a week of Hoskin Elliott retiring, the Richies retired.
Right. then this is the main one. This is the main difference of the team.
See, I only say things
Come on, Michael.
if Dermot cares.
Come
No,
on.
if he doesn't care, then I don't say anything.
You're being extra annoying today. Can you just straighten up a little bit?
You're not going to punch my effing face in it, are you?
Half the people watching this don't even know what the Richies are. They have no fucking clue.
Look them up. They're hilarious.
Right, are you done? Have you got everything out of your system?
I'm not sure.
Can we talk?
There's stuff bubbling away.
Can we talk about the game?
There's stuff bubbling away. It might come up any moment.
Jesus. Frampton and Howe didn't play in that game. And you know who did?
Frampton, how did he play? Charlie Dean.
Charlie Dean and Oleg Markov.
Right. Okay.
So obviously Logan Morris killed us that game. He kicked 6. Darcy Moore had a shocker, but a lot of it was Charlie Dean too. You think you got Frampton and Howe down there? That's a massive upgrade from Dean and Oleg.
And I will interrupt again, but this is relevant. Not that
Well, you weren't interrupting. I was just
not that the
looking at you.
Richies weren't relevant.
Is this football related?
How would be the guy I'd send to Morris?
Okay.
Because Morris is really their only tall forward he's only 20 and he played okay last night. Didn't play well in the first final. I don't expect he would make a big impact, but you'd shut him away anyway with Howe on him. They've got that other big raw bone guy who took a couple of marks last night. He's only
Gallup.
He's the son of somebody. But I missed what they said.
Sorry, he is.
Yeah, I know, but the son of somebody who played. Okay, but I don't remember anyone by the name of Gallup though in the past. But anyway,
interesting.
Yeah. So
he has a father somewhere.
Yeah, he has a father
interesting.
somewhere. Yeah, apparently he's one of the Richies, the father. He goes around with his grey wig on. Yeah, so there you go. I'd go just lock Morris away with all of Howe's experience.
What's Frampton doing?
Oh, could you turn that? Could you put that on silent? That's very annoying.
Jeez, that was bad timing.
Yeah.
What would you do with Frampton then?
Good question. Maybe Gallup. Gallup will get a game again. I think they were impressed by him. What other tall forwards are down there? Not really anybody. Well, of course, they played the 2 rucks last night. Would I go with the 2 rucks again?
Yeah.
And so McInerney might spend a bit of time in the forward line. Yeah.
This is
He can take the odd mark and kick the odd.
I think Fort's the better forward. I don't know why. I don't know. It's they don't scare. Their tools don't scare me. They should after what Morris did to us, but he did a lot of that work on Dean and Moore. This time he's going to be coming up against Howe and Frampton. It's going to be completely different for him. I'm excited about what Darcy Moore can do in this game because of the lack of tools that they got. He's obviously full of confidence now. It would be a bit different if we're coming up against the Suns. They've got a few dangerous tools, but not luckily. I'll just change the subject quickly. We'll touch on that Gold Coast Brisbane game because going into it, I really didn't know who I wanted to win. I could see positives about playing both. I could see negatives about playing both. I think Brisbane are clearly the better team, and I thought that beforehand. But I thought they were just beaten up, and they had obviously Lockie Neal injured and a few other guys that looked underdone. McCluggage with that strapping in there. I thought, they're just hanging on. They're just limping to a prelim if they get there, Brisbane. And I thought the Suns, full of confidence, they would come in with a nothing to lose kind of attitude. It was pretty early on in that game that I realised that I really wanted Gold Coast to win because Brisbane just look incredible. Even without Neil, it was a bad game against Geelong, but a week ago I was tipping them for the flag. So I don't know how I jumped off so quickly. You still got McCluggage in there. You still got Dunkley. You still got Will Ashcroft. You've got Rayner that goes through there. You've got Zach Bailey that goes through there. It's a great midfield despite not having Lockie Neal. And they looked fit last night. Like you couldn't tackle Cam Rayner. So all of a sudden, we've got a challenge on our hands. I went into that thinking, I don't know who I want to win. And I walked away thinking, geez, I wish the Suns got up because I think we would have just smashed them. So we'll talk a little bit more about their midfield group later, but that's kind of the vibe I got. What about you? Were you happy to see Brisbane win? Or
I went in not knowing who I wanted. It was a case of kind of pick your poison. I think both teams playing their best. I thought going into the game, the Gold Coast would probably give us more trouble with both teams playing their best, just in regards to matchups, because they've got the tall. We're traditionally been bothered by tall forwards.
And that was my point. This is why I started this whole thing. That is the better part for us.
Yeah.
That our defense should be able to handle Brisbane's forward better than Gold
Well,
Coast.
Brisbane's key forwards better than Gold Coast.
Yeah, well, they do have
Yeah,
some danger, like
very
Loman and Bailey and Rayner and those guys.
And Cameron, even though he's not playing crash, played better last night.
Yeah.
So, because traditionally, even though we've been better in recent weeks, with Frampton getting a few games back into him, but the key forwards have been the ones that can expose us. So I thought with Gold Coast key forwards, them at their best might trouble us more than Brisbane at their best, because they've also on paper they have a very good midfield. This is Gold Coast.
Oh, Rao and Anderson. That would have been terrifying.
And Flanders and whoever else goes through there. Took Miller. These guys, and they've got a good workman-like defence, like a fairly solid defence. So I didn't really know. I just
I did. Yeah,
pick your poison.
But now in hindsight, it looks pretty obvious, doesn't it?
Well, what I would have liked to have seen was the winner having to play the game out. I wanted at least a close finish. You want guys beaten up a bit more. The odd suspension, the odd injury would be nice. But Gold Coast couldn't even really, halfway through even kind of early in the third quarter, it was all, you could see the writing on the wall. And I think Brisbane, not that I was paying a lot of attention the last quarter, but I wouldn't be surprised. But did they manage a few of their better players?
I turned it off with about 10 minutes left.
Yeah. So, I wanted them the winner to have to really earn it. So the Gold Coast didn't do us any favours.
They were pathetic.
Yeah, and they got off to a good start. Like, it wasn't like they were overawed. They got off to a good start, but they just,
The travel might have got to them coming to Perth. Well, we'll touch on their midfield now. I just went through the names. Which of those guys should we put the most attention into?
McCluggage.
Yeah, I agree.
McCluggage.
What do we do with him?
Well, I'm not sure. Long, because Long apparently did the job on Zach Dawson.
Dawson?
Although...
Zach? Did he come out of retirement?
Sorry, not Zach Dawson. What's his name?
Even when he was at his best, Zach, I'm not sure if he was tag worthy.
Yeah, no. Lyon used to quite often take him through the midfield as that big bodied midfielder. What's Dawson's first name? Jordan Dawson.
God, he's had a disappointing final series, hasn't he?
Well, he's had a cold. All the Adelaide players had ills.
Let's touch on Adelaide just very quickly before we continue this.
Wasn't it funny? It took them 4 days to come up with this excuse. They were obviously brainstorming. They got together and they what can we come up with? We had a cold, a collective cold.
I cannot wait until Stephen Rowe's on radio next. I want to hear his excuses. I want to hear what that fucking cockhead has to say. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I think the Rankin thing, I think that's been underplayed. I reckon if Rankin plays against Collingwood, there's every chance they could have been sitting back watching Hawthorn Collingwood play and waiting the winner in a home prelim final. That's how big I think Rankin's out was. They could have beaten us with Rankin. Like, it wasn't it was 3 goals of difference with a couple of minutes to play. Yeah, they got no stoppage goals at all. I think his out was huge. I think he's an absolute half-wit. How could he have let that happen? I'm glad he did. Aesthetic he did.
I mean, I agree. It was huge. But we won by 4 goals. I reckon we could have won by more. We just went into sort of save the game mode basically for the whole, and did it very professionally. Yeah. We did what we had to do. I reckon we were all over them. If we wanted to, I reckon we could have won back by 6, 7.
But if you wanted one player out of their side, I think he was the one player you would have picked.
Him or going into that game, I would have said him or Dawson or Phil Bob. Dawson and Phil Bob ended up having a horrible final series, so it's easy to say in hindsight. But back to the Brisbane midfield.
Yep. Oh yeah, McCluggage.
Adelaide are irrelevant now because they're out in straight sets. Just in case Stephen Rowe and Adelaide fans didn't know. Boo! Poor Adelaide. Yes.
They started up again with that booing early on Sicily. Jesus, they're childish. Long to McCluggage maybe.
I don't know. It just doesn't. I don't know. Can you go with McCluggage?
I don't know. I'm not sure. He hasn't done it enough. Like, he tried to go with Rao a month ago. It didn't work. But then he went with Dawson.
McCluggage is a very different type to Dawson, though.
Not in terms of pace. Like they're a similar pace wise. Like he's not like he's tagging a fleet of foot inside a Butters or somebody like that.
Yeah, it's great.
So you could uh, s- uh, stay up with them pace wise. Oh look, he's a great player, McCluggage. Whoever's going to go to him.
Could be Pendlebury.
Yeah, Pendlebury's the other one I thought of, playing the same role as he does on Cripps.
So Pendlebury's role at the moment is just
match up with him at centre bounce at stoppages, and then So,
but you can't. I like the role that Pendlebury's in at the moment. He's basically he's a midfielder, and then he pushes into the back line. And when we need him, so he's just basically wherever we need him at the moment. Pendlebury. I don't really want to sacrifice that kind of flexibility. So
well, so maybe we just go head to head with them. Like they'd have their concerns about our midfield.
Well,
Dacos and De
I was going to say Dunkley will go to the Goey. He normally does.
Yeah. Dunkley will go to De Goey. Yeah.
Yeah. What are they going to do with Nick?
Hopefully, he doesn't slip on that paintwork this time.
Because they never try to go and like they did on that first game at the Gabba earlier in the year. Berry tried to go with him at times and just got absolutely smashed. But normally they don't try to go to Nick, and he destroys them. He's got a great record for Brisbane.
I reckon they'll monitor it. I don't think they'll start with anyone on him or any tag on him, that is. And I'll just think they'll monitor it, see how well he's playing, see how much that's impacting the scoreboard, because he might be getting a lot of touches, but if it's not separating the scoreboard, they'll probably tolerate it. So I reckon they'll wait and see with Nick Dacos.
Yeah. No, sorry, I'm just thinking about a few of their other players right now, and it's gonna.
Well, Rayner, what do you
Rayner was literally the one I was thinking of.
You just hope for the best. Hope that he's the type of guy who could have
hot and cold.
And cold.
Is there a more? I'm just going to put this out. Is there a more punchable face in football than Cam Rayner?
Well, if you take me as part of the football community, me apparently when I have a go at your socks story. But
I said this. I've been saying this for a few years about Cam Rayner, and the face became even more punchable after I saw the dive in and him laughing in their face. But I don't even like Geelong, and I was just getting worked up. That guy is a piece of work.
Well, piece of work, that's very very new, very Bronx. Yeah, well. He took a dive because he thought he could suck the umpire in, having just spoken to him, and he was right. It's not sportsmanlike, but the umpire should. Yeah, that was a terrible decision.
It was the worst minute of umpiring I've seen in my life.
Yeah, so it was more a reflection on the umpire.
Terry Wallace's son that was umpiring.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Who made that decision?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Has he been dropped for the? Because there was predictions that umpire would be dropped for the remainder of the.
Oh, I would assume so. I didn't notice him watching the two games, but I can't say for sure.
Yeah.
Right. So what have we got now? So midfield, we've ticked that off. We've ticked off our defense. All right. So we've spoken a little bit about Harris Andrews. Another guy in their back line that's very dangerous and sets up everything for them is obviously Dane Zorko.
Yeah, Dane Zorko and Wilmot on the other
Wilmot's
flank.
a good player, yeah. But Zorko's the main one. He's the risk taker. He sets up everything. Like,
yeah. Oh.
Do we put Bo or Shooter on him? And
oh, well, we used Schultz on him last time, didn't we?
did we? I can't recall.
Yes, I'm pretty sure we used Schultz on him in the last home and away game. We lost the game, of course, but I don't think Zorko was hugely influential. I might be wrong there. I don't know, actually. I probably shouldn't have said it.
He's not someone that you can take lightly, regardless of who you play. He's a star. He's one of the best halfback flankers in the comp, and the way he can pull off some of those kicks is just he's a remarkable player. He's a flog. We hate Zorko.
I think it's a bit of an exaggeration. Star, remarkable player. He's a halfback flanker. I could get a kick being a halfback flanker. Let's face it.
He's only been a halfback flanker for the last 2 years. He's played every position.
Yeah, he was all right before. He's not a star. He's a player.
He is a star.
Well, we beg to differ. So there you go. Yeah. So who would we play? Yeah, I reckon Schultz on Zorko. You don't want to be too negative in your forward line, so I'm not saying tag both.
No, not tag, but you can't just let them run around doing whatever they want.
Yeah,
you need to be accountable.
Yeah. So what else have we got? Sorry, was I supposed to be more expansive?
Well, do you have anything in your notes, or do you just rely on me to come up?
I've got a few things in my notes. I had that thing about
the Brisbane game coming up.
Oh no, mostly about the Asian American living in New York.
Well, How do you think this game's going to play out as a whole?
How do I think this game's going to play out? Um, what in terms of who's going to win, or in terms of style? We've both got
Both.
well,
We'll
well,
give a tip after, but yeah, go on. How do you think the game's going to?
well, I think both sides will want it a little bit chaotic because they're a fast transition side, move it quickly.
They uncontested marks is huge for Brisbane.
Yeah.
So they chip it around and then
Yeah.
then they take control.
Then
Someone
they
like a
go,
Zorko.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then they go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they kind of get it to
We need
the
to
wing
lim-
half forward, and then they go quick.
We need to limit their uncontested
Yeah.
marks.
Yeah.
That's their style. So I think there's a number. Is it if they take 100 uncontested marks, they normally win? Something like that.
Yeah.
Or 80? I can't remember the number, but there is a number that we need to keep them under.
I think I did hear that. Yes.
Yeah. Good job, Michael. I
It's
can't believe
fascinating.
you got a little piece in the age written about you.
Yeah.
You don't give a lot, do you?
We're all well. All my football knowledge comes from Young from New York. She close fills me with everything I need to know.
Give us a tip, Mick. You're
I'll give us a
hostless.
tip. I knew you were going to ask this question, of course. And
Oh yes.
geez, I'm a football pessimist, as you know. I'm a bit of a footy pessimist.
Oh God, I'm not asking much.
It's too far from the game. Let's wait to see the sides come out. We've got a panel show between now and then.
Yeah, but the sides won't be out by the time we do that panel.
No, but we'll know a little bit more, as you said.
Give
about
us a
these
tip.
trains.
I'm not asking a lot from you.
Okay. Pies by 17. I'll do the old 17 again because 17 is apparently the most common winning margin.
Is it?
Yeah. As of a few years ago, it was the most common winning margin.
Yeah.
17 points. So I'll go pies 17.
Pies by 6. It's going to be one of those games, I reckon. I'm really nervous. I'm stunned. It's now that we know our opponent and we can start talking about this game, the nerves are starting to set in. You think about all their dangerous players and how it can play out, and it's just I don't know. I before last night's game, the Gold Coast Brisbane game, I was saying, we should beat whoever we come up against. We should knock off both of these teams quite comfortably. But then my opinion changes the moment that game's over, and it's just like, okay, we can't take this team too lightly. Yeah, they're a bit banged up. Yeah, they're missing their best player, but they're a premiership team. They made a grand final the year before. They've been, I mean, in the finals the last 7 years competing in prelims. They've been there, done that. They've got star players everywhere. They don't just rely on Lockie Neal. We saw Will Ashcroft stand up last night. Obviously, McCluggage is a star. Rayner's just looking incredible. Bailey, it's just yeah.
They're
They're going to be hard to beat.
They've got a lot of those mid-sized players who can just cut you up. Not unlike Geelong in that respect. They've got a lot of those mid-sized, they've got Grant Myers and Graham Myers and
What? Brian.
Grant, isn't it Grime?
You said Grant.
Oh, Grime, potato. Does it really matter?
You're right.
Manor, Close, all those type Stengel, all those type of mid forwards. Whereas they got Lohman and they got Cameron and they got who were the other ones you said? Or you know, help me out at all. Bailey. They've got all those types. So they're similar in that respect. Their ability for their mid-size players to kick goals, multiple goals, is Rayner's another one. They're a real worry.
Our defense is as solid as I know we were struggling in the back half of the home and away season with our defense, but we were getting injuries and Moore was out of form. Throughout the whole year, we're the number one defense. If you just look at from round 0 to the qualifying final, we're the number one defense in the comp. So forget about that 6-week patch at the end of the year. This is the best defense in the comp. So I've got faith that we can hold up. It's funny. I didn't even touch on this in the last podcast. Isn't it funny that we spend the last 6 to 8 weeks of the year losing our mind about how bad we're playing and how we've butchered our season, and then come prelim week, we've got a home final, and we're one win away from a granny. Like,
It was a blessing in disguise. those losses were probably a blessing in disguise. So, because had we won a few of them, we might have ended up on the other side of the draw,
Yeah.
and we could easily be out now.
Yeah.
But we have ended up with a home prelim.
I mean,
You know,
Brisbane
with a week's
Brisbane
break.
is a good team, obviously a great team, but I think we are still on a good side. I would be more worried coming up against the Hawks or the Cats in a prelim this week. Obviously, MCG teams compared to an interstate team. Like they're good away, but at the end of the day, they're still an interstate team, and they're missing their best player, and they are banged up. I've said all that, but I'm still scared of them. You're in a prelim. You're never going to play an easy team in a prelim. But this, I'd still rather them than Geelong or Hawthorn.
And speaking of Hawthorn, and we're spoken about this at the time. We thought it was crazy at the time. Jack Ginnivan. So he's playing well. This is a guy who we had under contract, who and I've always been a believer, if you're a 19, 20, 21, even a 22-year-old, and you're acting like a do off the field, you're acting like a fool. If you've got ability, which he had, you persevere with them. If they're still acting like the dickhead at 26, 27, 28, you get rid of them then. When you're 20, 21, not everyone's a Nick Dacos. Not everyone has that level of maturity as a 19, 20, 21-year-old, as Dacos does. So what happens if you've got a guy with skill, but he's acting like what you perceive as a dill? You work with them. Okay, that's your job as a coach. You develop them. That's why you get the big bucks as the coach, because it's not always easy to coach a player. Some are going to challenge you more than others. Okay, I think we should have persisted with him. The straw that broke the camel's back was apparently that night at the Trots, the night before the grand final. I don't have a problem with him going to the Trots the night before the grand final.
Apparently, he's home by like 9 o'clock.
He was home by 9:30. What? Not everyone's the same. Did you want him to sit at home the night before a grand final and look at the walls? Okay, that was his way to relax and get ready for the game. I think it was a huge. I thought it at the time there was a huge blue, and I think it even more now. It didn't have to be either Schultz or Ginnivan. We could have had both, and to have lost him for a second rounder as like what was it, a late second rounder? Who'd we? Do you know who we picked?
I can't
Have we
remember
used
the
that?
exact trade. I can't remember.
Yeah, it
You
was
put
it was
him
a
in the spot.
second. It was a second rounder of some sort. Yeah, for a guy under contract, and he's a he's a good footballer. I don't think he's an absolute star or anything, but he's playing well for Hawthorn. He's going into a prelim.
I 100% agree, and I agreed with you at the time, and I agree with you now. It was ridiculous, and Fly's done 99% of things right since he's been at the club. So since he's been at the club, we're 4 years, one prelim, we'll kick off a grand final, then premiership the next year, and then a down one last year, and now we're back in a prelim this year. So he's done incredibly well, and he's got a lot right, got a lot of good players to the club through the free agency and trade period, but this is his one major error because he came to the club as known to be the best development coach in the country.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen it. That's the one thing we haven't seen a lot of from Flyers in his time at Collingwood, which is fine. We're a premiership contender. I get that.
Yeah.
But you think he would have backed himself in to be able to develop Ginnivan on and off the field, not just give up on him after a couple of years at the club. And he's changed his ways, Ginnivan, in terms of on field. He was just a forward pocket, kick a couple of goals a game, if that, one or two goals. He's inconsistent. He's now a high half forward for Hawthorn, running up and down. His endurance has improved a lot. He's got a big tank. He's a good player. He would have been a huge upgrade on someone like Lipinski, who plays a similar role for us, high half forward. So
Yep.
you're right. It didn't have to be Schultz or Ginnivan. They could have worked in the same team.
Yep.
Disappointing, but at the end of the day, we're lining up in a prelim again this week. So we could be have two flags in 3 years. It doesn't matter, but yeah, I agree. We'll touch on while we're talking about trades. I don't care so much about trade talk at this time of year while we're still alive, but there's one major talking point that I wanted to bring up, and it may or may not be Collingwood related. Most likely, it won't be. But Zach Merrett. What's your opinion on that? That is outrageous what is happening at the moment.
Yeah. Well, we just haven't got the draft capital to get him, even if we wanted him. I can't see it. I can't see it happening.
He's a gun player.
He's a
Yeah,
gun.
he would be so good to get.
He's a gun player. But what I would rather, as I said a number of times, what is
Can we go through a conversation where you don't bring up Zach Butters? Can we?
Zach Butters?
No,
I
stop.
want Zach Butters.
Can we just talk about Merrett?
No, but it's in relation to Merrett.
Oh.
Because if we were to pursue a Merrett, okay, not that we could get him, but if we did get him, then would we have the cap space left to get Butters in a year's time? Probably not. And I would much prefer a 24-year-old Butters than how old's Merrett? By the time Merrett, he's 23 now, I think. So by the time he got to us, he'd be 24, 25, Butters. I'd rather have him at his age demographic than, well, I'm answering your question, than Merrett at how old's Merrett? 29, 30?
Something like that.
Yeah, exactly. But that's
If I knew this was going to be a love fest for Zach Butters again, I just wouldn't have asked the question.
But am I answering your question? It's directly related to the Butters trade.
When was the last podcast we had where you didn't mention Zach Butters?
I don't think there's been a podcast where we haven't mentioned Zach Butters. But it's in relation to
Yeah,
fair. Yeah. So that's what I think about Zach Butters.
What do you think about him? What he's doing and how he's acting?
He's kind of all over the shop, because I remember he was on AFL 360 about the time when Rutten was sacked as coach. Rutten was their coach before. So, and the club was in turmoil, and he was basically very honest on 360. And he, in not the exact words, but he was basically saying in a roundabout way, he regrets having re-signed with Essendon at that point. He had only recently re-signed with them, and he basically said, we're a basket case. I wish I hadn't have re-signed, reading between the lines. But I think he's re-signed since then. So he just seems to be regretting every one of his previous contract signings. But he kept on signing.
Every offseason there's a little bit of talk about Merrett wanting to leave. It never happened. This is the most serious it's been. He wants out. It's so it's obvious at this point. He's acting. I hate Essendon, and I think it's hilarious that Merrett wants out. I think it's hilarious that Curnow wants out of Carlton. I hate these clubs, but God, they're pathetic. And don't get me wrong, I love a Curnow and I love a Merrett, but they are pathetic. Zach Merrett is the captain of this football club, and he is for 3 years in a row been trying to get out. Now he's acting like a child and stomping his feet. And
but we don't know.
Well, he's threatening to not go to the best and fairest.
But I'll tell you what, I'd never go out to lunch with Sam Mitchell. It never stays private, does it?
No.
But apparently, I heard there was Merrett's team which leaked the story.
That's Tom Morris has already come out and said that's not true. Yeah,
it's not true.
It's not true.
Well, then who's leaking it?
I don't know.
Oh, well, I think it's a fair question.
No, well, how am I possibly meant to know the answer to that?
He's very short with me today. Have you noticed?
Why have you got blood dripping all over your head?
Oh, it's not bleeding again. I cut myself shaving. Oh, you mean the back? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't matter. People don't need to know that I'm bleeding profusely from my scalp.
Did you get attacked at the Hewinville petrol station?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
They weren't so much fans that came up to you, were they? The Will Hoskin Elliott lovers.
I was laying on the ground trying to sign an autograph for one of them, thinking that's what they wanted. Here, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, but Merrett, he's acting like a little brat at the moment. Well, he is.
I don't think that's fair.
Because it is fair because he's not. Why is he not going to the best and fairest? That's weak. That is weak from him. He's the captain. He's got 2 years left. They've given him a pay rise the last 2 years to keep him happy, and he still every year wants to get out. He's a weak leader. Whether he stays at Essendon or goes to Collingwood or goes to Hawthorn or goes to the Bulldogs, wherever he ends up, he should not be in the leadership group because he's not a leader. He's a great player, but he's proven that he's just not a leader.
But I think it's a case of be careful who you listen to, because you're getting this from the likes of Tom Morris and these journos, these footy expert journos who, we take what they say as gospel in a lot of cases. They're very far from 100% accurate. Even the Buckley situation, for instance, the Melbourne job. Oh, it was Buckley's to lose. Buckley didn't get it. King got it. All right. Okay, you've been telling us for weeks how it's a fait accompli that it's Buckley's job.
Well,
Well,
are you
it
saying
wasn't.
are you saying that this merit stuff isn't true? Because the coaches come out and players have come out.
No, no, what I'm saying, you're talking about things like, oh, he's refusing to go to the best and fairest.
No, that he's threatening not to.
Well, he's threatening not to. Is he threatening not to? Or is Tom Morris saying he's threatening not to go? So we don't know the full story. So just be careful drawing too many conclusions from what the likes of Tom Morris is.
Well, it is his job at the end of the day.
It is his job, but it's also
he's one of the better ones out there.
But it's also no. He's just an example of all of them as far as I'm concerned. You say it's his job, but there's also certain pressures to his job, which is sometimes to go with a story that he's not 100% certain about because he needs content out there. There's pressure on him to put content out there, so they're always going off half cock. These guys.
Well, I would agree with you in terms of someone like a John Ralph, not Tom Morris. I rate Tom Morris. I rate Cal Toomey. These kinds of guys, Riley Beveridge, they're good. You know who I don't like Mitch Cleary much anymore.
Well, I don't watch much of Channel 7, so I don't really come across his stuff.
He was better when he was on AFL.com. He's gone downhill on 7. And you know who I actually agreed with the other day? You know, just very quickly, Caro talking about how disgraceful Bailey Smith and Chris Scott are. They like to abuse women down there at Geelong, don't they? Not physically, but abusively, and verbally, I should say. Sorry.
Caro gets.
Caro was right.
He gets as much as the rest of
this whole everyone's talking about Bailey Smith, who's an absolute disgraceful human being, by the way. Bailey Smith.
Well, we don't know him again. We don't know the guy. He's
We don't need to know that. Is there a bigger attention seeker in football history than Bailey Smith?
Yeah, I don't like what he did the other day
the guy's an utter piece of shit.
Well,
he is. But you know who's just about
isn't that a Snoop Dogg song? Utter piece of shit. Anyway,
but the coach doing a similar thing, and then it's just getting swept under the carpet. Like they are dodgy down there at Geelong, and they'll do everything in their power. Like Chris Scott is the most. Everyone knows he's a good coach, a great coach. No one likes him. No one respects him.
I like Chris Scott.
No,
seriously.
This is you just trying to be different. We established this on the show that you like to be different.
No. Well, I'm only motivated by being different. I think we all know that. But having said that, you've always known I like Chris Scott. I think his thoughts in the game. His thoughts in the game are fascinating. Whenever I see him interviewed, I sit down and listen because he's always an interesting guy. But as far as Bailey Smith goes, I don't understand. This was an open training session. Okay, an open training session to the public, to the media. He's getting a rub down on the bench. The photojournalist has taken a few photos. That's her job, to take photos. If he thought it was that private, this is a guy who he can't get his shirt off quickly enough to have a photo taken. All right, so he's not shy. If he was that shy about it, go down into the rooms and get the massage down there. To then abuse her for doing her.
He wanted attention. He just wanted. He's used her in the past as well, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know if he wanted attention.
He lives for attention.
He's just a little bit unstable, I think, the guy.
His story that he came out with in the Australian Awards, nobody wants people to go through what apparently he's gone through, but he just volunteered this information. He just wants everything to be about him. But anyway, we'll move off Bailey Smith and we'll talk about his club very quickly, Geelong and Hawthorn. Who would you rather, if we go through to a grand final, who would you rather play at a Geelong and Hawthorn?
Again, pick your poison. Oh, geez, I don't. Something's telling me Geelong.
You would rather play Geelong?
Yeah. With no confidence whatsoever. They've got so many players we just haven't had an answer to in recent years. We haven't had an answer to Cameron. We haven't had an answer to Dangerfield at times, to a lesser degree.
So you're saying you want to play them or not?
Well, no, I'm saying just off the top of my head, something in my head is saying Geelong. I'd rather play Geelong. But having said that, then you look at them and we haven't, as I said, Cameron. What do you do about Cameron? What do you do about Dangerfield? But then if you look at Hawthorn and all those mid-sized players I mentioned before, Manor and those type, and Close and Myers, Meyer and Stengel.
You're right the first time.
Stengel. But then you look at Hawthorn as an actual unit. And Hawthorn have been our bogey side for 50 years. They've always, no matter where they are on the ladder or where on the ladder.
We did beat them in the 2011 prelim, though, so it would have mattered most. We got them then.
Yeah, we did.
Not like that has anything to do with the current groups, obviously.
No, nothing to do with the current. But they've just been that bogey side for us. For whatever reason, what happened in 1971 shouldn't have affected 1987, shouldn't have affected 2002. But these things do, and they've always troubled us. So
but they smashed us a few weeks ago, but then we smashed them earlier in the year.
Yeah, exactly. Don't know if I could stomach Jack Ginnivan being in a premiership side against us, though. I don't think I quite stomach that. Well, good luck to him, but well, actually, no, I take that back.
No, not good luck.
Not good luck to him. But
Well, I think the stat is since the 70s, since the 1970 or the early 70s, Hawthorn have played in the most grand finals. Collingwood have played in the second most amount of grand finals, but they've never played each other.
Yep.
So they've never played each other in the whole history of both clubs.
And
but since 1970, isn't that interesting that they've played in the number 1 and 2 for most grand finals played, and they still haven't met each other?
Well, not only they haven't actually played in a lot of finals full stop, like the 78 prelim, the 11 prelim, and there's probably others if I think about them, but not a hell of a lot. Like, luckily we avoided them in the 1990 season. Melbourne knocked them out for us. So that was because they had beaten us by 90 points a few weeks out from the finals. And then Melbourne beat them in the last home and away game that year, and then played them in the first final and beat them again. So thank you to Melbourne. Otherwise, I'm not sure we would have won the 90 premiership.
I'm very big on. A part of me wants to take on Geelong. So my theory here behind this is when I was growing up, the first team to break my heart was Brisbane, 203 as a 7, 8-year-old, and then I felt like I got a little bit back when we beat them in 2023. The next team to break my heart was Geelong in 2011. So I wouldn't mind being able to get a little bit of that back if we beat them this year. Then obviously, maybe in another 10 years or so, we can maybe beat West Coast in the grand final, make up for 2018. It would be nice. Geelong were the first team that I grew up despising, really, because despising, no fault of their own, how great they were, and beating us in a lot of big home and away games. But then you got the 07 prelim, you got the 09 prelim, you got the 2011 grand finals that just touched on. This is a team that I've just wanted to seek revenge on for years. Obviously, we beat them in the 2010 prelim, which was nice, but that's kind of undone a little bit the next year, and they knocked us off in a granny. So they then beat us in the COVID Cup year 2020. They smashed us in that final too. That's a bit of a forgotten final, but I want to knock this team off in a grand final. Nothing will bring me more joy than beating Geelong. But obviously, need to get through Brisbane first.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's a huge thing. Talking about journos, I think someone I meant to mention on last week's pod, but I don't listen to Sam McClure much.
Oh,
like I don't listen to his radio show. I don't watch him.
Oh,
And whenever I do hear stuff from him, I hear stuff from him on a third hand, and it's usually stupid. Like, it's just like ridiculous comments. And nobody, like at the start of last year when he said Carlton will win the premiership, and if you don't agree with me, you know nothing about the football. So not only does he make a fairly stupid comment that at the time they were in the running, but at the time they will win the premiership. Not that they could or they might. They will win the premiership. But then he just gets insulting by saying, if you don't agree with me, you don't know anything about the game. Well, they limped into the finals and got knocked out in the elimination, right? And the Harley one, he won't go to West Coast.
And then since then, he's been saying that he would not stay past his first contract. Now he's just signed on for another 2 years. So.
But then last week, I like Mason. I like Mason Cox.
Yes,
I like Mason.
How did I not know where this is going?
But he said Mason Cox was in the top 3 ruckman in the competition. That is just Twitter went meltdown, and I think that's the one thing on Twitter that supporters of every team can agree on. The only thing, Sam McClure managed to unite all supporter bases on Twitter. Never been done before. Even Collingwood supporters were saying, no.
Do you know what happened? So David King and Kane Corns were making fun of him on their Fireball show. Yeah. And Corns was going through, he played this game and he would listed every ruck in the competition. Who would you take? Max Gawn, or Mason Cox, and then King, you would have to answer.
Mason Cox,
and
yeah.
then Darcy Cameron, Mason Cox, Cherry, Mason Cox, blah blah, etc. etc. Anyway, they got to about, I think they listed about 13, 14 guys that they'll take ahead of Mason Cox, and they were all having a laugh at Sam McClure's expense, and not being very kind about him, which is hilarious. But in more in a joking way. It wasn't an aggressive way. It was a bit of fun. And anyway, that night, so then Corns in the next Fireball show told a story. That was on a Friday morning, Friday night. Corns was at the whatever game was on to call the final for Channel 7. And in the media room, he ran into Sam McClure, and the two of them get on okay because they worked at Channel 9 together, so they know each other. McClure cracked the shits with him. Yeah, basically, really sort of in an angry way, and Corns to say, mate, it was a bit of fun, whatever.
And just analyse what he said in a public forum.
Yeah, not happy, real mad, ended up storming away. They didn't sort it out. So it really says a lot about that man, doesn't it? That he just can't handle criticism at all, even when it's in a fun kind of way.
Well, it shouldn't have even been in a fun way, because as one of those footy journalist experts I was talking about before, they should be held more accountable. And another guy talking about Cox was and I don't know who this journalist is, but somebody did ratings of the performances of Collingwood and Adelaide players in our final.
Yeah.
And this guy obviously bases his ratings off champion data stats. He obviously doesn't know anything. This person doesn't know anything.
Not Hoyne, is it?
I don't know who it was, so it could be a she. They don't know anything about the game. They obviously just look at the champion data stats and make their ratings out of 10 based on that, because they gave Cox 2 out of 10 for his game against Adelaide.
I did say
so
that.
they've looked at the stats, seen he's got 6 or 8 possessions, whatever he has.
It was 8.
That's a bad game. That's 2 out of 8. Forgetting about the nuances of the game and the role he was asked to play, bring the ball to ground, make sure their intercept markers don't mark. He played his role really well.
Yeah, of course. Everybody that knows anything about the game can say that.
He minimum 6 out of 10, I would have thought, because he played his role.
Yeah. At least a 5. That's a pass mark of 5.
That journo should resign out of embarrassment, whoever it was. Please.
Rightio. Have you got anything else you want to bring up in hot topics, or can we move on?
Oh no, I've got some musings. If I may. We've spoken in the past about the father-son, and I've had my say in that. But just, I don't understand why people want to change it, because it's equally open to all clubs. Yes, Geelong, Collingwood and the Bulldogs and Brisbane, they've had a good run of it of late. But there's going to be times for other teams. Eventually it will even out. It's a great part of the game. And somebody was saying during the week, Darren Buick's son, apparently he's really upset at the prospect of not playing for Essendon. Now, and that's fair enough. He's watched his dad have a very good career at Essendon, won premierships. He wants to win premierships at Essendon. And he might not have the chance. And as much as I don't like Essendon or Carlton next year, Walker's son apparently could be number 1.
Yeah.
And yet they might not get him. Like, I have a little bit of a giggle privately over, but that's just not right. That is just not right.
Have you got my theory written down, if they want to change it or not?
No.
Well, what I said to you the other day. So I'm a big fan of keeping the father-son the exact same way. No difference. But if they want to make it more difficult, at the moment it's 100 games that you have to play for that club for your son to be eligible. Make it 200. It's better than scrapping it altogether. If you have 200 games, you still get the Dacosses and Pendleburys and Buckleys and Swans of the world, if they all had sons playing for that club, the greats, the all-time greats.
Oh, no, you had all-time greats who haven't played 200 games for Collingwood.
Yeah, but I know, but I'm just saying that a lot of the all-time greats played 200 plus games, and I'm just saying I would prefer it to stay at 100. But what I'm saying, it's better than losing it altogether, don't you reckon? So,
of course, it's better to lose, but you shouldn't even. There's no reason to change it. What is the reason? Why do they want to change it? Because the likes of St Kilda haven't benefited from it for forever, really. Well, that'll eventually turn around. Okay, maybe start if you recruit good players to begin with, St Kilda. Then they might reproduce good. No, I'm not even trying to be funny, because they've never really had a whole heap of champions, because they've only won 1 premiership in their 151 year existence. So maybe start by recruiting good players, and they would produce good offspring. Okay, that might help you out a little bit.
Anything else, Mick?
I want to pay tribute to retiring Lockie Keith. A big favourite of mine. What a stuff up that was getting rid of him.
Oh God, are we gonna? This is like bloody Zach Butters again. Are we gonna have a podcast where we don't talk about Lockie Keith?
No, we can't talk about Lockie Keith because what we want to do is we want to touch on the sock story again, and we haven't got time to Lockie Keith. Lockie Keith was a 202 centimetre player who could play any key position, including ruck, competently. What did we do? We showed him in the door at the end of 2017, delisted him, so I got nothing for him. He then went on to play for 8 seasons for a good competitive club, a club pushing for premierships. Okay, so they obviously saw a bit in him. And wouldn't he have been handy in the 2018 grand final when we had all our fullbacks out and we had to have Goldsack play on the monster Kennedy? Now, he did as well as he could, but he was hugely undersized. We should never have gotten rid of Lockie Keith, and I said it when they were being delisted. You can attest to that.
Yes, you did.
An underrated stuff up.
Yes, to our new listeners, Michael talks about Lockie Keith almost every second week on the show.
He was everything Will Hoskin-Elliott wasn't.
Well, while you're touching on Lockie Keith, we'll give a bit of a shout out to James Aish, who's also retired.
Yes, he was. I like James Aish. Yes, I'm looking for a new whipping boy, by the way. I'm looking for the.
Who have you got?
I'm not sure. I haven't settled on anybody. I want them to be young, so I can whip them for a good decade. Somebody to replace Will Hoskin-Elliott. So I'm open to suggestions. So
I'll bring up a few of your past whipping boys. Josh Thomas, you didn't like.
Josh, he upset me. Josh Thomas,
Jared Blair.
Jared. Yeah, Jared Blair. His first season was his best.
His first 2 seasons are good. If you're going back a while, you got Shane O'Bree, Shane Woden.
He's 30-metre torps on the run. Shane O'Bree, that was his specialty. Shane Woden. Yeah, but whenever they show highlights of Sean Burgoyne, there's this one where he's running down the wing at Football Park, I think it was, and Woden's in the background chasing him.
Yes, I know that.
And he's just getting further and further away from him. It's hilarious. And there's been quite a few.
You know what I think? So, when was the last time you did I Got Vomit?
I've got one.
You got one today?
I've got one now.
All right. Here's Michael with I Got Vomit.
When people get winded on the ground, do they go, "Ugh"? Does that still happen a lot?
Do you want me to test it out?
No, I was going to say. 'Cause I remember when I used to get winded, you lie on the ground and all you hear is, "Ugh."
Public declarations of love. I don't like them. And we've touched on this before, but I came across this tweet last week because it was Father's Day. So I've gone through some pretty dark times in my life, but this man has always been there to pick me up and guide me to the sunshine from the storm.
No, this is
Give me a
Slip Coach
break.
with the. I like him. He's good.
I couldn't ask for a better role model and wouldn't be close to the person I am today without him. Happy Father's Day. Love you, Dad. Okay, give me a break. Give me a break. Guide me to the sunshine through the storm. I don't need to be privy to this. I don't need to know about this. Okay, what you need to do, you need to ring your dad up or reach over to him over the kitchen table and say, yeah, you know, Dad, good show. You're doing well. You're doing well. I don't need to know this. It should be done. Dermot last week did it privately, a very emotional tribute to me on Father's Day. Well, I texted Dermot and asked him, because I'd laid out my nice clothes and assuming he was going to take me to a luncheon. And assuming he was going to take me to luncheon. And he responded with, "Happy FD, footy show's on."
I was reminding you that the footy shows on. That was nice of me. You forgot the week before. That's why I was letting you know.
So you know that guy wasn't happy with me because apparently I was the only negative comment
Did you say something?
Oh, I said a few things to him.
He's a good man. I watch him. I
I-
watch him on YouTube and podcasts. He does Supercoach content. You're an asshole. He's actually a good. He's a Brisbane supporter.
Sarah Jones actually said, "I ruined a beautiful moment."
What?
Sarah Jones, she commented.
Did she?
I ruined a beautiful moment, apparently.
Did she?
Yes, she did.
What, Fox Footy?
I'm making that bit up. But he basically said
okay.
that. My negative comment ruined the beautiful
Why are you
moment.
bringing up Sarah Jones? I don't understand the joke.
Oh, Sarah Jones loves her beautiful moments, doesn't she?
Sarah Jones is very good.
But really, just keep these public declarations of love. Just keep it to yourself. Just share it with the person. Because he said to me, "I wasn't talking to you, Stan." I said, "You weren't." I said, "You posted it on one of the biggest forums in the world." What do you mean you weren't talking to me?
Rightio. Anyway, it's time for Who Am I? Panic set in then. I had a feeling that Michael may have forgotten, but
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Now-
I had a few more. You didn't. I had other musings I wanted to go on with.
what?
Other musings, other thoughts.
I got vomit.
No, before we got to I got vomit.
Are any of them really that important? Do you want to bring any of them up very quickly, or?
I think Toby Green's overrated. I've always thought this. People, because there's certain players throughout the years who I describe as Herald Sun or Channel 7 players, in that the media pushed their barrow, really pushed them as being champions. Back in the day, it was Robbie Flower, right back in the 80s. Very good player, but not the upper echelons of champions. I think Toby Green's the modern example.
No,
I think because
stop trying to be different.
because he's portrayed as this knockabout larrikin. Everybody wants to be in his corner. He's a very good player. I wouldn't think in his generation, the last 10 years, he'd be in the top 20 players of his last generation.
In the last 20 years,
No. In the last 10 years, his generation, he wouldn't be in the top 20 players. He's a very good player,
No.
but he's not. No.
I love Toby Graham. One of my favourite players. Anyway, I don't want to hear anymore. Get into Who Am I?
Is there anything else I had to say?
No one cares. If that was one of your top points, I don't think it matters if we missed a rest.
Happy FD.
I went back and I've got a score update finally on the Who Am I. The last few. I don't know how. At one point I was 7 up. You're storming back. I'm only 22-19 up now.
Woo. 22-9. And have we had the equal number of sessions?
I haven't worked that part out yet.
Well, that's pretty imperative, I would have thought. Did I go first? Was I the first? So
You were the first one, yeah.
So you might have one in hand. You might be 3 points up and one in hand.
Yeah, okay.
So
And then,
after this one, depending on how much you get here, then you might be 6 ahead if you get 3.
Yeah, because I didn't get the Ricky Olorenshaw one a couple of weeks ago, and then you went bang and got a 3 last week. So even last week I was still 6 up. So that was a big get for you to climb back. But yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to extend my lead.
Okay, who am I? And this is a very generous 5-pointer. Okay? And you need to think about it though.
Okay.
Born in 1943, played 182 games over 2 stints with Collingwood and another 69 with another club. Okay? So think about it. Born in 1943, so he was in an era when players didn't really change clubs that much, and even fewer of them ever came back. So that's a very generous clue.
Straight off the bat, I'm thinking. So 40. So he would have probably debuted roughly in the 60 early.
So he's
50s,
roughly 80 now. He's probably 82 now,
if he's alive.
if he's alive.
Okay, because I was thinking straight off the bat, I was thinking Len Thompson, but now you're making it sound like he's still alive.
Oh no, I'm just saying if he's alive, he'd be about 82 now.
Because Len Thompson, correct me if I'm wrong, he went to South Melbourne and then back to Collingwood.
I'm not going to tell you anything.
I think that could be right.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I reckon it could be Len. Who else roughly around at that time? But I'm pretty sure he went to South Melbourne. I could be completely wrong. Oh, Peter McKenna went to Carlton. I don't know if he came back to Collingwood. Did you say so that he came back to Collingwood? He left Collingwood, then came back to Collingwood.
Over 2 stints with Collingwood, yes. So he's 2 stints. Collingwood, the other club, and Collingwood.
Yeah, I don't think Peter McKenna came back from Carlton, did he? So I'm almost certain that Len Thompson did. Did Len Thompson? I'm trying to read your face. You got very long eyelashes. You need to trim them. All right, go to 4 points.
This again is another very generous clue. Probably too generous. If Serge already hasn't got this on the first one, he'll get it now. Kicked 7 goals in the 66 semi-final against the Saints. Kicked 7 in a semi-final, a couple of weeks out from the 66 grand final. Kicked a lazy 7 against the Saints.
So it's 1966.
Yep. We played St Kilda in a semi,
Yeah, and then we
And-
played them in the
and then
granny.
we played in the grand final. But he kicked 7 against them in that semi.
Is this before Len Thompson's time now?
I can't tell you stuff like this.
I was thinking of him being very old, but he was definitely around in the 70s. Thompson. But that towards the end of his career, which means he would have been around in the 60s. He was a ruckman, so 7 goal, but he could have rested forward and kicked 7 goals. Who else was around that time? Who are our forwards? I don't fucking know. No, go on to 3.
3 points. Due to a pay dispute with the club in February of 1970, he lost the captaincy. So he had a pay dispute with the club.
Was Len Thompson captain? Why do I keep on thinking Len Thompson? Peter Moore was captain, but I think he was captain when he left to go to Melbourne. I mean, so that couldn't be Peter Moore, and he wasn't around in that. No, Peter Moore's not that old. Oh, so yeah, 1943 he was born, wasn't he?
43?
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. Peter Moore. I can't think of any. He lost the captaincy, did you say?
Yep, because
But
of
he
this
was
pay
captain
dispute.
in
No,
1970.
Yeah, in February of 70, he was in a pay dispute with the club. And when the season started, he lost the captaincy. So he was captain in February of 1970, but then lost the captaincy by the time the game started.
Hmm. I'm gonna go one more. I'm gonna go for 2 here because I've still got a 3. So I've still got a 3-point lead on you. So
2 points. Played 4 seasons with Essendon as captain coach before returning to the Pies for his final 2 seasons. And he famously made them, after one loss, he made the players crawl around the ground, do laps of the ground crawling at training.
he went to Essendon
He
and
went
was
to-
captain coach.
He was captain coach of Essendon.
Why the fuck don't I know this?
Played 4 seasons there.
Oh, I'm happy I didn't go Len Thompson. I'm gonna kick myself, am I? Who the fuck was? I don't know. Collingwood captain. So hold on, what year was he in Essendon? So
I think he went there in about 73, 72, probably 72 he went there. I haven't got that there, but yeah, basically about 72 he went there. And he was there for 4 seasons, 72, 73, 74, 75. And then, yeah, now I think he's back to the Pies in 76.
76. I'm embarrassed by this.
Well, you shouldn't be embarrassed. It's not like Andrew Shawball. That one you should have been embarrassed about, but anyway. But not this one. Because this one's before your time, but it's before my time. But I kind of knew. I knew
Not a long time before you.
Oh, but still before my time.
This is way before my time. But
He was kind of
Collingwood captain,
7. I was 7 when he retired or thereabouts.
Collingwood captain, kicked 7 in the 66 semi. Goes to Essendon, become captain coach. You reckon?
Not I reckon. He came. I'm just making this stuff off the top of my head.
Captain coach.
captain coach.
What the fuck? I'm gonna have to move on. I'm not good in under this kind of pressure in this environment. I'm not good.
Down to 1 point. Take your time. Take your time.
No, one
Think-
point. No.
Think of the big Collingwood players of the early 70s. You've mentioned a few.
Well, the only one I can think of that played for.
So, so you mentioned McKenna. He went to Collingwood,
Yeah.
you said. So it's not McKenna.
Oh no, I'll thank you.
Did Thompson go to Essendon?
Maybe he did. I thought it was South Melbourne, but is it Essendon?
Who else are the big players around there? Can you think of any at the top of your head?
No, not that. No, I can, but guys that I know didn't leave the club. Thompson played for South Melbourne. I'm certain. Was it Essendon? It couldn't have been Essendon. It wasn't Essendon. No, it's not Thompson. If it's Thompson, I'm fucking gonna be pissed off. Renee King, he played for Essendon. That's the only one I can think of. But it wasn't him, obviously. Wasn't him. He wasn't captain, and he definitely wasn't captain coach.
Well, I think he was about 16 when the Essendon players were crawling around the oval. So I don't think they would have listened to him.
No, I know it wasn't. No, it wasn't him. But I can't think of someone that. Nah, we're gonna have to move on. This is taking too long.
Okay, for 1 point. Since retirement, sadly, he's been in a little bit of trouble with the law on many occasions, and his son Paul played 40 games with the club, 87 to 91.
Collingwood, you mean? He played for Collingwood.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. He played 40 games for Collingwood, 87 to 91. So his son Paul, and he's on the board at the moment. His son Paul is he has been on the Collingwood board in recent years. I know if he is.
Paul Akira? Like,
I'm not sure.
Akira is that? Paul. Don't fucking know. Go on, fucking tell me.
Tuddy, Des Tuddenham. Tuddenham.
What? Oh, yes, I'm not kicking myself because he didn't even cross my mind. But,
Yeah, Des Tuddenham. Of course, Thompson went to Fitzroy.
So it wasn't South Melbourne.
I don't think he went to Fitzroy. Did he go to South Melbourne after Fitzroy? But he went to Fitzroy along with Max Richardson. Went to Fitzroy as well.
Thompson.
And Thompson was in the pay dispute with him. See, Thompson and Tuddenham. Thompson, I think at that stage was vice captain because they had recruited this guy from Exton, a guy from WA. I forget his first name, on big money. And he's actually getting more than the captain and vice captain at the time. So
Len Thompson went to South Melbourne in '79 for 1 year, then Fitzroy.
Okay, yes, yeah. There you go.
What's happened with him in recent times? You said he was.
Oh, back in the day, look, you can have a look at his Wikipedia. It's got his rap sheet on that. Just if you ever need car tires, he's the man to see. Let's just put it that way. But I wasn't going to detail his rap sheet, but it's quite extensive. But not for many years. Great player, great servant in the club. That type of thing.
You're right back in this now, and this who am I?
And they were good. They were good clues.
Right, I'm gonna have to give you a few difficult ones to hold up.
The reason I'm emphasising they were good clues is because Dermott's got a very nasty streak. He's got a very nasty streak. He'll feel threatened now. His lead is threatened, so he's going to come back with another equivalent of Mick Irwin. Okay, he's going to come back with something like that.
All right. We're gonna wrap this up in a second. Before we do. Panel show, as I said before, we're recording that Tuesday night, so it'll hit YouTube, Spotify, and Apple on the Wednesday morning. We're joined by Serge again, Pat, and the Grubman. Yep.
I've got to touch the macabre.
Oh,
you didn't ask me. I've got to touch the macabre.
Oh, Michael.
It's a good one. No, it's a good one. It's a really good one. It's fascinating.
Can we just stay focused for a second? I do end up saying to you any final words. That would have been a good time to do.
But it's a whole segment.
No, we're not doing it then. So yeah, panel show. It should drop Wednesday. Looking forward to that. I didn't actually ask you for a tip from the Geelong and Hawthorn game. Like you said who you want to win. Who do you think is going to win?
Oh, pretty hard one. A really hard one. I think Geelong.
Yeah. So we're both tipping the Collingwood Geelong grand final.
Yeah,
It's the easy answer. They both had the week off, but geez, both games are 50-50. They really are. Rightio. I'm nervous. This will be our last regular show before we then find out who the grand final teams are. We do have a panel show coming up, as I was just saying, alongside Serge, Pat, and Grubman, so we can talk more about the prelim before then. But any final words, Mick, other than the McCann?
It's a quick one. I was watching. I was listening to a podcast the other day. Fascinating, and it's about their theories about why there's not as many serial killers around these days. No, listen. You'll find this interesting.
I'm listening. I'm sitting right next to you. I can't help but listen.
But you're not paying attention. But there's a few obvious reasons, like the rise of DNA in the last 20, 30 years. So they're obviously catching people before they go on to become serial killers. So they're catching him after the first murder. So other things is we're just safer these days. This is their theory. We're safer these days. Back in the 70s and earlier, they were hitchhiking. People don't really hitchhike much these days. Simple things like locking doors and that. That's what communication between jurisdictions, like back in the 70s in America, different police jurisdictions, they never communicated. There was no computerization. There was an element of competitiveness between police departments, so they wouldn't share information. So you could be looking for the same person and just not sharing information. So that's improved, of course. But the big thing they said, the fascinating thing, was lead, the use of lead between the 40s and the 50s. They found that, they've got a plane going overhead at the moment, they found that lead damaged the male cortex, which basically influences your behavior, as opposed to the female cortex. So in male cortex, they were smaller and damaged when exposed to lead poisoning. And there was lead back in those days, petrol had lead in back there, water pipes, paint. And apparently most Americans lived within 10 miles of a smelter plant. So they were getting all this lead pollution. So they reckon that is what, that was the major cause of serial killers in the 60s, 70s and 80s was lead poisoning, which since the 80s it's been outlawed. So the next generation hasn't had many. Obviously, you've got mental illness amongst that. There's always been serial killers. But the height of serial killing in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, they reckon was down to lead poisoning. Fascinating.
Thanks for listening. We are only 2 wins away from our 17th flag. Go Pies.